see you. Welcome to Money Made Magic. So today we're going to talk about the budget for the month. We're going to look at my income and what I expect to spend, in the hope that helps you plan your budget for the next few weeks. So I'm going to take you through a meal plan, which I don't normally do, but there's a reason for that. So the meal plan is because I've got a very different April. Normally, I spend my food money monthly. Because I'm going to be away for a couple of weekends, I'm doing things a bit differently. So I'm going to explain all that to you. So we'll do the meal plan, and then what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the income and the outgoings and how I'm managing that this month, in the hope that it helps you plan for months when you've got things that come in that are very different to other months. So let's have a look. So this is something I've done that I don't normally do a meal plan, but I've done a meal plan for March into April, and that's because I've got these 2 weekends where I'm going to be away, and my grocery spend's going to be slightly different. And what I wanted to do in the coming week is just to make sure that I wasn't spending a lot of money and buying things and leaving them in the fridge while I was away, because I'm going to be away for a few nights. So I've done a little meal plan, bearing in mind what I've already got in the house, which will minimise how much I'm spending this week. So I'm not going to go through that whole meal plan, but it's just this idea of I've planned out around what I've got in the fridge and the freezer, so that I only need to spend, I think it's about £13. £13 I've budgeted for this week, just to buy some salad and some accompaniments for some of the things that I'm going to have. And then I'll be away, and then I'll be back, and I'm going to do my bigger grocery shop when I come back. But again, I've got only 3 nights, and then I'm going to be away again. So I have to think about what I buy. I probably won't buy a lot of fresh stuff that day, and I'll probably shop again here on the 9th. I haven't planned in the rest of the meals. That's because I didn't want to plan that too far ahead, but I always plan around what I have in the freezer. I have a well-stocked freezer. It's full of meat, chicken, burgers, all sorts of things like that. I think there's gammon in there and bacon and sausages. So I just really try to plan. That's the advice. It's really important. The more you plan, the more you'll get a handle on your finances. So this is April's budget. I'm going to talk you through what's happening, because it's a little bit different to what's happened in past months. I've got some things that are coming up that I need to plan for financially, and this is the whole thing. This is the secret, I think, of planning really well. It's no good sort of thinking that everything's the same every month, because it isn't. Life happens. And so this is really an illustration for you to, first of all, to demonstrate to you that things do happen, and you do need to take things into account that come into your diary. You can't just stop living. But it also gives you an idea of how you can manage this and still pay down that debt. So I'm going to talk you through what's happening. So here, I don't know if you can see, I've got my income, and that's stable, and that's at £2,380, and that's in the bank already. I'm really lucky. I get paid earlier in the month. I get paid around the 21st, so that's there. And my regular outgoings are here at £1,558, and that's going to leave me a balance of £822 to pay off something from the debt, and also to manage the regular outgoings, things like the groceries and the fuel, and to pay out all of the other things. So I'll talk you through the expenses. So the regular expenses are things like the groceries, and I've allocated £80 to that this month. A number of reasons. I don't really need as much as I normally do, because I'm going to be away for a couple of weekends, so I won't be eating from my household supplies. I will be having probably a couple of meals out, but I'll be eating with family. So I've built in a contingency fund. Well, it's not really a contingency, it's a holiday fund. So I've built in some money, which I'll come to, which is for the holidays. So the next thing, which is regular, is my fuel. And the fuel allowance is slightly, well, it's quite a lot higher than normal. I normally have a very small fuel allowance, about £40. But I've added in there the money I'm going to need to travel, because I'm travelling to my daughter's in Leeds and I'm travelling to see family down in Wiltshire. So I'm going to have to spend quite a bit on fuel. I have my road tolls. I go through a tolled road every week, and I have to go through there to get to work. So I factored in for £25. I've worked out how many journeys I'm going to make, where I'll need to pass through that, and how much that's going to cost. So that's going to come to about £25. I've added £20 into my coffee and meals out budget, and I've only added £20. I normally add 40. The reason I've only added £20 is that I've already got £20 left in from this month, which I haven't spent. So I'm kind of just topping that up. But actually, because I'm going to be away, the majority of my meals out and coffee time will be spent, you know, having meals out with family and with my daughter. So I'll probably not go out that often outside of that. I have a dental bill, unfortunately, that's coming up this week. So I've got to go and pay for having some dental treatment and having my teeth cleaned, etc. So there's that spending contingency, which is for being away. So I've put £100 in for the 2 trips that I've got planned. That's £50 each. And it's for things like, you know, if we go out for a coffee, if we go out for a meal, it's not necessarily for buying things. I'm not going to buy, you know, go wild on spending. And if there's anything left of that, I'm going to add that to my debit pay down. I've added some money in for Easter gifts. I normally give my daughter a boost of money, so I'll probably end up with £50. And then I'll probably spend about £30 on little gifts for the family. We've got a couple of children that we buy for. I'll probably not buy them chocolate, but it'll probably be, you know, something. I think I bought Lush last year, so I'll probably buy something like that for the family. So that's £80 in total. I've got a self-care budget in there. I've started to go regularly to a friend of mine who does a sound bath, and that's around £10. But I've also agreed to go out to a comedy night to support local comedians with a friend of mine. And I don't often go out, and I just thought, you know what, I ought to really just do something in the evenings rather than just sit in. So I've got £25 in for that. And sundries, you can see there, this sundries budget, that's for things like when I have to get public transport. So when I go and get my hair cut, for example, I go into town and I don't take my car, but it costs me about £5 to travel. And then there's car parking. Sometimes I have to use the car to go up into the little town centre where I live, and that can cost me a couple of pounds, just if I need to buy something that I can't really carry rather than walk. So all of that comes to £534, and that's actually quite a lot for me, and it hurts my soul to think that I've got to spend it, because I really want to pay this debt down. But that gives me around £288 that I can actually pay off that debt in April. So that's still a win, and I'll be paying that probably around the 1st of the month, once I've made absolutely sure that I've drawn everything out that I need to and that things have been paid. Just as an aside, I've started to look at what I'm going to use in cash and what I'm going to leave to come out of the bank. So I'm going to take cash for my groceries, for my fuel, for my coffee meals out, for my spending contingency for being away for my Easter gifts, and for the sundries, because everything else will have to come out of the bank. So I'll need to pay for the things I'm doing for self-care through the bank. I'll pay for my dentist through the bank, and have to pay my road tolls through the bank. I can't really do it any other way. Well, I can, but it's just too difficult. It just comes out of my account. I've got an account with them. Actually might take half of the sundries in cash, because I might take that in, I might leave that in the bank, because I can pay those things with card. I'm just trying to use cash, that's all, where I can. So if I take cash, it's going to cost me about £431 to draw that out. So I'm going to have to draw that in 2 lots because cash machines only let you draw so much. The other thing I would say is that in past months, what I've done with groceries is I've tried e-vouchers, which have been brilliant for me. But because I'm away a couple of times and I'm shopping, I'm going to shop weekly this time because I'm going to be away for a few days. So what I don't want is to buy a load of produce and then for it to be sat in the fridge, not being used. So that's my budget plan for this month. I hope that's been useful. It's just to give you an idea of how you might plan a month where you've got things that are sort of out of the ordinary, like your holidays and things like that. And it just shows you can still make some payments of your credit cards if you still want to. So there we are. I hope you found that really helpful. Let me know in the comments down below whether or not you've took any tips or hints from that. I hope you have. It's lovely to have you with us. If you've liked what we've done, give us a like, give us a subscribe. That always helps the channel. And I'll see you next time.